All right, so this is one of my favorite variations as far as like just a general exercise. It's called slow motion mountain climber. Q, why don't you get on the floor and first demonstrate what it is? So it's a push-up position, perfect. And she's nice. She's got a nice pelvis tuck. She's reaching through her shoulder blades, which is great. Okay. We want to make sure we tuck the pelvis. Now, show us what this is without a tucked pelvis. Like, let it go, arch it. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you can't get in a good position, go ahead and relax. We're going to take the small foam roller and we're going to put it in between your knees. So if you can't get that pelvis underneath you, we're going to put the small foam roller between your knees. We're going to squeeze it. And that's going to help her tuck her pelvis. So tuck it a little more. There. So that really helps. If you squeeze that gently, it's going to help tuck that pelvis. I do the same thing with push-ups as well. And you see how she's reaching through her shoulder blades? Go ahead and collapse. Make sure, like, don't reach. See that? How her shoulder blades together. Now her pelvis is dumped. Now correct it. There. Perfect. Okay. So let's say you can't get on your hands and do this. So we would start with on the push-up bar on like high. If I had somebody who's like older, a lot older than Suzanne and me, I would start in a push-up position on the bar, just like that. Yep. Good. And I would tuck that pelvis and reach long through the bar. And then we're just going to bring one knee up. We're going to march. We're going to hold, and then we're going to switch. We're nice and slow. We're going to bring that knee up. We're going to hold, and we're going to switch. Now, this doesn't seem very difficult for Suzanne, but for somebody who's like 70, 75, 80 years old, or somebody who hasn't trained in a while, holding themselves in this position while they're resisting rotation is actually difficult. So if you had really bad hands, it's going to be easier for you to get on a bar and do this than on the floor. So we would do this, and then we would just lower the bar down in the squat rack. Okay. The next level to this, if you can do your hands, would be on the bench. So she'd go over to the bench and she'd set up in a push-up position. She's going to get long through her back. She's going to reach. She's going to exhale, and she's going to bring one knee up nice and slow and then switch. Like when I work with like my 85-year-old, 90-year-old guy, Doc, we would do a lot of these on the bench. Okay. Nice and slow. Good. And then the next progression is just to the floor, right? We don't even have to demonstrate that. But I would use a gymnastics beam, like a foam beam to use on the floor to make the hands a little easier on the hands. We could also use handles for push-ups. We can also make it harder by using the foam roller. So take the foam roller, put it down in the position. The big roller. The big roller. Yeah. Just like the old days. And put that down. That's fine. Put the foam roller down so you can basically get on a push-up position on the roller. Right? So we're tucking the pelvis. Getting long. See that nice, good position, long neck. And then she's going to march.
Oh, march.
Yeah, no, you're tuck your pelvis. Get up. You're too low. Okay. Now do your march nice and slow. Good. There you go. And how many times did I have to tell you slow down? So the big thing with this is she's still reaching. We can always add a push-up into this to make it harder. We can always do, so we would do a push-up into a slow motion mountain climber. We can always cut that roller in half and have two small ones to make it harder. Okay. Go ahead and relax. So we could have two individual foam rollers that we could have at different angles. Okay. We could also do it off two med balls or one med ball to make it more difficult. So if you think about that, that's one exercise. We can also add chains to it. We used to have chains at the gym. We used to have 20-pound chains, 10-pound chains. We could add chains to it. If somebody can keep their pelvis in a good position, if their pelvis can't be tucked, we don't want to load that. We don't want to do a bunch of loading on the spine. So basically we can add chains to that. There's so many different ways we can manipulate this one exercise So you think about that. A lot of people get really sidetracked by a million different things. We can do this one exercise in like 15 different variations. So there's no need for all sorts of fancy stuff.